How are we going to raise the vibration on the planet? How are we going to activate our superhuman potential? You can rise above the game. You can operate from your heart. You can focus on your health and your fitness. You can get your mind clear. And you can reactivate that mathematical code and switch on your multidimensional architecture and become multidimensional angelic humanoid beings. The choice is yours. You can play small or you can play gigantic. Are you serving God? A lot of people will turn around and say, oh, absolutely, I'm serving God. Some people will say that they're not serving God because they don't believe in God. I'm telling you right now, I don't care who you are, you're serving God. I don't believe that God is some benevolent old gentleman up in the sky. God is mathematics, God is frequency, God is energy. God isn't everything, God is everything. So, how are we going to raise the vibration on the planet? How are we going to activate our superhuman potential? How are we going to bring back the level of consciousness that we once embodied as multi-dimensional angelic humanoid beings? We played and lived the game of life on so many planets throughout the cosmos. The last time that we were fully activated properly, we were on a planet called Tara, where they had the same kind of crystalline grid structures that we have here. And that planet ended up being blown up. There were wars over these crystalline grids, just like there's wars over the crystalline grids on planet Earth right now. If you want to know where the Stargates are on planet Earth, all you've got to do is look to where the wars have taken place. Somalia, Iraq, different places around the world. Everywhere there's war, there's a Stargate. The catastrophe in Lebanon a few years ago, Beirut got blown up, that was over Stargate control. Nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with money. All of those things are just byproducts for some of the human minions that work for some of these off-planet beings. Jesus, Jesus. In Romania, they've never called Jesus Jesus, they've always called Jesus Jesus. That's his real name. The Romanians are tapped in. The Romanians know the truth. The grid systems in Romania are off the charts. The original triangulation, the original 3 crystalline pillars that were powering planet Earth, one of them was in Romania, one was in India, one was in America. They got taken down many, many years ago. But Romania is returning back to where it once was. It's a powerful country, powerful sacred land. I was in Ethiopia recently, part of a sacred gridwork mission where we were laying crystals for the new 7th dimensional grid systems for the dragons. And I went to a monastery. The monastery was called the Debradama Monastery, and it was on top of a hill. Well, not on top of a hill, it was on top of a mountain. And to get up this mountain, you had to rock climb. So I went up the side of this mountain with one of our guides and got to the top, went to the monastery. When I went into the monastery, they had this book. It's over a 6,000-year-old text. And in this text, I mean, this book was huge. Inside this book, there were multiple pictures. And there was one page where they had a picture of Jesus leaving to go to the pyramids in Egypt, to the ancient mystery schools, to learn, to remember, to activate that Christ consciousness within. When Jesus was here, he was here to restore Christ consciousness on planet Earth into the human race. But it didn't go too well. And it's not this C-H-R-I-S-T, this Christian Christ. It's K-R-Y-S-T, crystalline. The crystalline codes from the Cathara grid, the 45-degree rotation out from the 0 point. This Christ crystalline consciousness, which we right now on planet Earth are remembering. This book, 6,000 years plus, it depicted all of this. It depicts the truth. The Bibles that we're reading from now, all of these different books, they're full of BS. There are little elements of truth in them. There are little codes, and if you know how to decipher them, you can extract a little bit of magic and alchemy. But most of the stuff is a false doctrine. This book, when I went up to this monastery, the place was amazing. And the guide that was with me, he told me that no one has ever touched one of these books. And the priest turned around to me and gave me the book, and I was holding it. And the codes and the frequencies in this book, I was just uploading. Ancient information was just streaming and activating my consciousness. It was amazing. I asked the guys when I was there, I said, the first person that came to this place, I mean, there's no way up this mountain. There's no cave systems. I asked, how did he get up here? And they said to me, Well, legend says it that a great big snake took him out. And when you go to the top of this monastery, outside the monastery to the left, you see this great big snake lifting this guy at the side of the mountain. But what was clear to me, it was this guy's activated alchemical code, that Kundalini frequency. He'd activated that sacred Christ consciousness, and he'd activated those dormant abilities, and he was able to ascend up the side of the mountain. And he thought, what a great place to build a monastery. And it's been up there for thousands and thousands of years. And something like 250 monks are up there 24/7, 365. It's an amazing community on the top of a mountain that you can't walk up. I went up to another mountain in Ethiopia where there was another monastery. This was even higher. You had to literally rock climb and rock climb and climb, and we got to the top of this rock, walking along tiny little ledges, hundreds and thousands of meter drops, and there was a front door into a cave. Amazing place. These sacred monasteries up in the mountains are just a whole other level. Ethiopia is a special place, and these guys that are in these monasteries, they know the truth. They're teaching the truth to the people that want to listen, to the people that want to take it on board. In these Western countries, the UK, Europe, America, they're just feeding people a whole heap of shit. But that's okay. It's part of the game. Part of the game is to decipher, work your way through the madness, and then discover the truth. And when you discover the truth that's really in here, that God spark, that divine spark, that diamond spark, that divine potential that plugs you into the God worlds, then you have access 24/7, 365 to untold knowledge, to untold truth, to untold wisdom. And you can reactivate that mathematical code and switch on your multidimensional architecture and become superhuman once again, switching on that 12/13 strand DNA template. Because we all know that the number 12, it's not about that at all. It's always about the number 13, always. Jesus isn't telling you through some of these sacred texts that he's coming back to save you. No, what he's trying to do is help you understand that inside you, you have this Christ consciousness waiting to be activated, and that we're all just as powerful as each other. Some of us have forgotten, some of us have remembered, but the potential lies within every single human being. And you've got to ask yourself, do you want to play in this field that we call the matrix, being bust up and squeezed? Or do you want to exit the matrix, break down and crumble the matrix, and play a whole different game? Where do you want to be? The choice is yours. You can play small, or you can play gigantic. You can play like a human, or you can play like a superhuman. We all get the same choices in life, beautiful soul, because everybody is smashed left, right, and center. Because that's the way the game is designed. But you can rise above the game. You can operate from your heart. You can focus on your health and your fitness. You can get your mind clear. You can take action every day on your goals and your dreams. And you can step up and step forwards, leaning into the process of life. Or you can get bashed up, beaten down to your knees, and crumble, and be like most other human beings on planet Earth. The choice is yours. I know where I'm headed. I know where I'm going. Magic and alchemy, it flows through my life, because that's what I decide every single day when I wake up. You can do the same. Are you serving God? A lot of people will turn around and say, no, I'm not serving God. A lot of people will turn around and say, oh, absolutely, I'm serving God. And some people will say that they're serving God because they see God as this benevolent old gentleman who lives in the sky, in heaven, and controls the pearly gates and lets you in if you've done good, or sends you to hell if you've been bad. Some of these people that are into religion, they believe in God in their way. Some people will say that they're not serving God because they don't believe in God. They'll say that they're not serving God because God doesn't exist, that they're free and they do whatever the fuck they want. I'm telling you right now, I don't care who you are, you're serving God. Now, first of all, we've got to define what God is, because I don't believe that God is some benevolent old gentleman up in the sky or somewhere in heaven, wherever heaven is, controlling them pearly gates. God is mathematics, God is frequency, God is energy, God is consciousness, God is source, intelligence, infinite intelligence. They're all just labels for this same thing. And ultimately, We're all connected to this intelligence. This intelligence created you, me, the sun, the moon, the stars, planets, everything. And this intelligence is in everything, experiencing reality in many different forms. God is experiencing reality as planets. God is experiencing reality as humans, as fish, as different extraterrestrials, different universes even, different multiverses, different galaxies. God is in everything. God is everything. So we have to understand what God is, and then we can understand that you are serving God, that I'm serving God, that everybody is. Not because I'm some Bible-bashing Christian, because I am not into religion at all. Jesus isn't coming back to save anybody. That Christ consciousness is in every human being. But we as humans live in a holographic reality, and we as human beings are biological computers living in this holographic reality. We have DNA in our bodies. We're extremely powerful and unique beings. And we literally operate like computers. We're uploading and downloading frequency all the time. Mathematics, geometrical code in the form of life experiences. Past lives, future lives, everything that exists when you break it down is geometrical code, mathematics. Now, as you walk through time and space, as you're listening to this video, as you're watching me, whatever it is that you're experiencing in your reality, and whatever I'm experiencing in my reality is being uploaded from our biological computer into different libraries, ultimately being fed back to source intelligence. So God's source intelligence is out in the world, out in the universe, or you could say the universe is out, or infinite intelligence is out, or source is out. If you don't like this word God, don't use it. Use a different word, or just use energy, or just use love. Love is God, God is love. Ultimately, this frequency is love. This frequency is working through you and me and everything. And it's having these different experiences and sending all of the data back to the source point, to the creation point. So all of these information streams that are collecting data from our biological computers are giving this total experience of multiple universes in multiple multiverses all the way back to God. And so we are just out there having these experiences as humans, you know, being human and experiencing them as me, as Jerry, and you as whoever you are in these physical avatars. But ultimately, we're serving God. Whether you like it or you don't like it, it doesn't matter. It's just the truth. And when we go about our day, our life, and we get ideas, and we think, oh my God, I've had a brilliant idea. Oh my God, I've got this great big new invention. No, you've not got a brilliant idea. No, you've got not a great big new invention. What you've done is just download information from the universe. You've downloaded information from this infinite source intelligence, this creation point, this mathematical structure that we're plugged into through the divine spark, the God spark, the diamond spark in our heart. We're super connected, super plugged in. And what we're plugged into is feeding us all the time. Some people get up in the morning, get out of bed, walk out their front door, get in their car and drive left down the road and go somewhere. And they think they made that choice. Some people will get out of their house and go right and think they made that choice. Some people will sit there and they'll deliberate for a few minutes. Shall I go left? Shall I go right? And they might spend 5 minutes deliberating, and then they'll choose. And they think they made that choice. But ultimately, they didn't, because they were always going to go right, or always going to go left, because that's how the story was written. And you can rewrite your story, but here's the thing. When you decide to rewrite your story, it's only because the story was already rewritten, and you're just following the path that was already laid out for you. These choices and these decisions, we think we made them. And I could say to you, right, I'm going to go out of my house now, I'm going to go down the gym, and I could get in my car and drive, and I could get to the roundabout and say, fuck it. I'm not going to the gym, I'm going down to the beach. I'm going for a swim. And I think I've made that decision. But ultimately, I was always going to the beach all along. The choice and the decision momentarily about me going to the gym was just God making me think that I've got a say in all of this. Oh, it's bonkers, man. It's beautiful and bonkers. You gotta love this human game, baby. It cracks me up. It really does. And we can't take it too seriously because it is a great big cosmic joke. And these things that we think go wrong in our lives, that's just the universe having a little bit of a joke with us to see if we're we're leveling up and we can stay present and handle it. And you can laugh or you can cry. You can expand or you can contract. And whether you expand or contract was ultimately written into the story. So the best thing to do is to kick back, relax, and go on this human ride. At the same time, when you go on this human ride, when you get the inspiration and the feeling to do this and that, take it, because that's God working through you. God doesn't like lazy people. God doesn't like people that don't try. Because if you don't try and you're lazy, how can God experience the full experience that it wanted to experience through you? Because you were created for a reason, to collect information. And if you sat in front of your television all day watching videos, what kind of information are you feeding back? Maybe you want to go and experience that for an hour or a day, but I think that's enough. Go on to the next experience. Get out there and unleash these radically unique, superhuman, God-given talents and gifts that lie in every cell of your fucking body, man. Because you've got so much magic and potential inside of you, but only you can realize it. How is this particular human being, born into this certain set of circumstances, going to handle life smoking weed all day with that addiction? And if you don't get out of that addiction, maybe that's your chosen path anyway. And that's what was written into the scriptures. Or maybe it was written into the scriptures that you were going to be a high frequency, high performing, superhuman being that went out into the world and crushed it. No one will really ever know until you leave this planet. Or we leave this planet, I leave this planet, whoever leaves this planet, us. You know, our individual selves, when we leave this planet and we return back to infinite intelligence, and we look back at the life that we just experienced, then we're gonna know the actual real truth. Everything that I could be sharing with you in this video could be complete and utter bullshit, because nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. We're all experiencing different realities, different perspectives, and it all creates a beautiful jigsaw puzzle. And if one of the pieces were missing, the puzzle wouldn't be complete. So just be the puzzle piece that you are and enjoy it.